Welcome to the Data Barracks Classroom. My name's Mark, and today I'll be talking to you about why you should set up a hybrid cloud. I think that most businesses understand the benefits of cloud computing, moving to an OPEX model from a CAPEX model, being able to get much more cost-effective infrastructure than they could reasonably do themselves. But a lot of businesses see this as a potential risk by moving all of their production systems out to a cloud service provider because they don't necessarily trust the technology or trust the service provider maybe with their actual critical data. So hybrid clouds give an opportunity to take small steps into adopting cloud services. This allows you to maybe select specific services or maybe a small part of your infrastructure to host in cloud service providers and trial that service is suitable for yourself and maybe give you the confidence that you may want to later adopt a full production cloud. If we look at a typical situation, a client has a very limited set of resources to run within their own environment, and cloud providers have a much larger set of infrastructure on which to get aggregated consumption modelling and prices back to yourselves. Now, if you look at this, you'll normally find that you'll run out of resources at your site, and that may mean that you can burst into the cloud by hosting services that you may not have the capacity for internally. Or maybe it's a service that you don't feel comfortable with hosting yourself and maybe would more appropriately handled by a service provider. Things such as web scale applications are very common to be put into a cloud service provider than hosted internally. If we look at kind of a generic diagram, we have a client environment over here on the left, and we have a cloud provider data center on the right. And any business has a small set of infrastructure to host their services. A cloud provider obviously has a much bigger aggregated set of resources, which allows them to give you a much more cost-effective solution. And so services such as bursting into the cloud or DR to the cloud are very good hybrid solutions that are potentially much more cost-effective than trying to achieve it yourselves. With bursting, you may not have the capacity to deliver short-term scale, in which case hosting them in a cloud provider can be much more effective. DR as a service can obviously be a lot more cost-effective. Having to do it yourself means having a duplicate set of infrastructure, having to own and manage that particular service, and try and deliver those SLAs. Whereas bursting into a cloud provider means that they can do it at a much more cost-effective basis and probably have much better technology to provide RTOs and RPOs relevant to your business. It's also important to consider the complementary technology that the provider may be using. If you're a VMware house, it may be worth considering using a cloud provider that uses VMware technologies because their hybrid solutions may be more integrated and provide you a better consolidated view of what's going on than maybe some other technologies. It's also important to understand the SLAs given around these services because there's no point in taking any particular service if the SLA is not what you would reasonably achieve internally.